You've seen me sharing deals and sharing products and what we do, but what I really want to do today is sharing the bigger vision behind the Land Pilot. And this is not a pitch. This is really about who I am, where I came from, and what the Land Pilot actually is about, and how it will help land investors to succeed in a challenging land market over the next couple of years. Guys, I'm born and raised in Germany. This is where my weird accent is coming from, what I always say. And I'm around now 30, 40 years in real estate. I owned all kinds of companies around that, from construction companies to consulting companies. I ran a house flipping operation over there. And in 2020, I discovered land investing. It was like a guru in this space who made an event in Germany. And I just got infected because it automatically resonated for me to be in real estate without having all the struggle of real estate, right? So like when we were running house flips, it was just like dealing a lot with constructions, with permits, with people, and everything was late and delayed. And when I learned about land investing, for me, it just hit my boxes of my idea of life that is always living in freedom, right? Like for me, it's like really for living free was a choice of time. How do I spend my time? Was a choice of where do I live? Was a choice of like, I always have enough money in the account. And this is like how I got infected by that. Okay, I can do real estate from the laptop. And guys, that was tough because I got engaged in that 2020 when COVID hit the world, and the whole world was shutting down. And I was like, okay, you need to make this work without ever having been in the country. But you make it work. This is what a good entrepreneur does. So I tumbled around for a year, spent a bunch of money here. And after a year, I did finally my first deal, right? So when you did more than one deal, right, in your first year, then you're already better than I am. But what happened since then is that we closed over 1,200 transactions, right? We have like done more than $11 million in capital raising. And what I really learned in this process, what I didn't like about it, was the acquisitions game, like being consistently in touch with sellers, talking to them, doing that. And so what happened is I started pretty early in my career in buying packages. And the first package I ever bought checked like all the boxes, right? Because there were 144 lots in 24 counties in Florida. I had a hot money lender involved. And I was now sitting like, or faced with a challenge. Okay, you have so much inventory, you have a clock ticking, you need to pay interest payments every month. How do you do that? You need to sell them fast. And this is like where we really got faced the first time with building scalable disposition systems, right? Because when you have 144 lots, you need to do 144 times underwriting. You need to do your diligence. You need to do your market research. You need to build your marketing materials and all that. What we really built is a scalable process around that. How can we do that? And since then, we have continued doing that, right? We're working right now on a 300 lot package here in Texas. So we still do that. And, I freaking love it. But what happens through that is dispositions in land is like not a topic a lot of people talk about. A lot of people came to me and asked me, because we were pretty much doing well, like, can you sell my land for me? I said, yeah, we can do that. So we did a bunch of JVs, and I just realized, hey, we need to build a product for that, because when you do like 10, 20, 30 JVs at the same time, you just lose oversight. And this was really the birthstone of the Land Pilot, right? This is where I just realized, okay, you need to offer that on scale as a product for people to help them get rid of their land properties, and to do everything on the way that they have with a really much high likability, the ability to sell their property. And good property sales start on the top of the funnel. You need to make a good market selection. You need to go in markets where you have buyers, where you have sellers, where market is going on, and not where nobody wants to be or nobody's willing to sell. And the second thing that I realized was that we that a lot of the deals, especially in the past 2 years, since mid of 2023, a lot of the deals we got submitted were not evaluated, right? So like evaluation is a real big point, like in every sales process, because you can't sell something where there's $150,000 for $250,000. No, you need to sell it for $150,000. And we saw a lot of people just doing a lot of guesswork around comms. And then last but not least, especially when you do bigger deals, when you do more complicated deals, you suddenly need capital. You need to have different underwriting to do, like what you need to find out before you take a lot down. A lot of the wholesales don't work anymore, so you need capital and all that. So what we really build is like a comprehensive systems that help people like getting rid of their properties on scale. And the lessons I learned in my 12 or 13 years as an entrepreneur now is you can scale your business in two ways. The one is build it with a full team organization by yourself. And there's amazing operators out there that do that. And I did that multiple times in my life. And the second way of doing that is partnerships, right? Like, so you don't do everything by yourself. No, you have like a value chain, and you collaborate with people on different parts of that value chain, and use their skills of being a specialist in a special part of this value chain to get there where you want to be, while you focus on one or two or three parts in this value chain to do that. And I think I've done both, right? Like, there's two ways of doing that, and I think partnerships is a much smarter way of doing that. Why? Because it brings you faster there where you want to be. Probably you will get less of the pie on each deal, but you will do much more deals because you save all that time doing all these mistakes, doing all that wrong hiring decisions, purchase decisions around properties and all that. And this is where I see like a lot of people struggling with, right? And right now I'm on the position that in the market where we are in, you really want to build through partnerships, because there's a bunch of people in this marketplace that can provide you services that will do it better and faster than you, no matter if that's cold calling or text messaging or pulling data and handling data. No, there's people out there that will do that much better. So you want to find these people to work with, because it will add so much more value with that. And the market today is challenging, right? There's more data available. There's less of an edge. What do I mean by that? So I was on a conference last week, and what I see everybody doing, especially people that have larger operations, they pull huge amounts of data and just roll through it, right? That means, like the big companies that are really good at data, that have really good teams, will succeed, right? You have more competitions in our space. There's line coaches popping up every day teaching this method to others. Well, I see, and that was like something I realized last week too, there's a bunch of new operators in this space, and there's a bunch of big operators in this space. Like the average operator is swamped out the market because they don't have the capital to keep up with those, right? And then they deal also like on the downside with that people that don't know what they're doing, that are screwing up the market for sellers and all that. So this is why a lot of like investors are struggling today, right? Because they're burning out, they're dropping out because they don't make the profits they did anymore in the past 3 years, because somebody else already took their place. And what was really missing, and is really what I want to cover in the Land Pilot, is a structured ecosystem that helps you scale through avoiding all these mistakes you would normally do while you build an organization by yourself, right? This is why we have a product which is the Land Autopilot, right? Where you really get from the market selection over the outreach to people, over the whole disposition process, from underwriting, funding, selling, while you get everything in one thing. So instead of having like this whole bunch of people running around in your organization, this whole bunch of technology that you need, all the subscriptions you would need for, I don't know, data subscriptions and phone subscriptions and call center subscriptions and subscriptions for Land.com and whatever that is, and all these expenses every month. No, you just have one line item. Hey, I buy a complete service and I focus on one thing. That's a seller. And this is structured around partnerships. This is scaling through partnerships, right? And my vision here is not just being a business. We want to be this ecosystem for you, right? A place really where deals get done, where you can come in, no matter if you do the whole thing or part of that, but where you can get rid of your deals, where you can have services that help you moving deals faster, where you can have access to funding, which is a huge need right now in the industry, where you can sell notes, where you can leverage like a comms team that runs comparables for you, like on scale, where you can really leverage and multiply results, where you can partner with us and with others to get deals done you couldn't done before, like subdivides, entitlements, and so on. Yeah, you can do them all by yourself. But when you enter this entitlement space today, how successful will you be? How successful will you be when you try to understand zoning regulations like engineering, all the hurdles and headaches that come with it, different engineering phases, different testings, different surveys? Um, like, how successful will you be when you will do it by yourself? And this is really my vision for the Land Pilot, to build you an ecosystem, right, where investors can focus on their strengths while leveraging ours, right? We have built a ton of this already. We have done all kinds of deals. We have done entitlements, subdivides, mobile high value. It's like we have done like almost everything that you can do. We've done it probably through partnerships and learn it along the way. Oh, we work in the process with partners that execute for you. We vetted these partners. We bring them into your ecosystem, and you just need to rely on the Land Pilot for you to make it happening. And if you're here, you're part of this journey. You're part of the family. And we are building this together. This is my grand vision of that, right? Because without you, we couldn't do deals. And you without us probably would do less deals, worse deals, not make any money, not move deals. So this is like the symbiosis I want to create, that we really bring land investors back. They want to be on the top of their game, finally making money in this business, finally stopping trying to figure it out, like really bringing that together. And I just want to say thank you for being here. This is just the beginning. Stick around, and we are going to build something really special together.